You're listening to La Selva right now. In the studio, we have Omar.
Hello, all.
Yes, we have our intern slash shadow slash he's hanging out guy. And then we have a guest today. His name is Gary, and he is a creator of Scumbags. He is from Bell, and he attended Berkeley. Is this correct? Correct, right?
That is
that's
correct.
Yes, all right, and yes, and this is Gary Alvarez. So, man, all right, so I was bad host and didn't do my homework on Scumbags, but I've been reading it since we became Facebook friends, and I've been seeing all that stuff. So I guess just like you want to give us a little overall about what Scumbags is and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, Scumbags is a web series. It was created about a year ago, and it's gone through different, manifestations. The basic concept is that everyone's a scumbag. I'm a scumbag, you're a scumbag, Omar's a scumbag, Obama's a scumbag, the Pope, everyone. And, the difference between our scumbags and, your stereotypical frat boy who, ends up sleeping with all the frat girls and then draws penises on your forehead when you pass out is our scumbags are trying to be better people. So in the pilot, which we just shot in late August, and it's in post, we meet a group of ragtag scumbags at a meeting of Scumbags Anonymous, and they're there to help each other quit scumbaggery. And in the pilot, we go around and introduce each one, and through a flashback, we actually see one of the fellows committing scumbaggery in action.
I like this word, scumbaggery.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it into the daily use.
So it's the verb.
Scumbaggery is the noun, actually. The act of being a scumbag.
Oh, okay. Man, I love this already. It sounds like, I'm pretty sure we could say this on the air, douchebaggery. Yeah, it sounds exactly like that.
Well, a douche is on a different level. So, for example...
wait, are there levels in this?
Yeah.
Oh, this is dope. Yeah. This is well thought out. This is great.
I'll give you an example so it's not so abstract. So, a douchebag is somebody like Donald Trump.
Okay, yes.
Who happens to be a scumbag, but not every scumbag is a douche.
Yo.
So, there's fine lines. There are fine lines. And you can walk both, but... somebody like Donald Trump, when he says things, racist and xenophobic things, I think he crosses that line over into being a douche.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, you came up with this idea how many years ago, or like when did this pop in your head?
So I was on a set. I was creating on a set on a feature film set with some friends of mine, and we just when you're on set, in between takes and setups, you try to find ways to. Pass the time as and have as much fun as possible. So anyways, I was on this set and with some friends, and we were just coming up. We were sharing scumbag stories of our own, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody decided, this would be a good idea, to make into a web series. And by the end of that 12-hour day, we were up to episode 150-something. That's
Damn.
How much scumbaggery there was between the crew. And after a couple failed attempts of getting it off the ground, it kind of sat on the shelf for a little bit. And right around this time last year, I decided to revisit the idea. And I wrote a script. Actually, before that, I launched a Facebook page. You can check it out. It's called Scumbags/web series. Not to be confused with the other scumbags on Facebook. And so the intention of that was to start building an audience. And then once I started... the Facebook page, I wrote a script, and I started casting in January this year, and then I kept rewriting the script based on the actors who came into audition, and just trying to create characters that I thought would be good for that pilot, for that meeting of Scumbags Anonymous. And eventually, so I finally got everyone cast. There's 6 scumbags in the pilot, and I finally got everyone cast. And then I launched a fundraising campaign on a new website that I hadn't tried before called fundanything.com. And that was
either.
It's relatively new. It's not known as Indiegogo or Kickstarter, which was one of the reasons why I decided to try to use it and see what would happen. But so from there, we launched a fundraising campaign. Our goal was about $5,500. We were able to raise a little over $1,200, and I had to postpone the shoot because I needed to figure out, as the producer, I needed to figure out, okay, how am I going to make every dollar count? So I had to postpone the shoot, but eventually we did end up shooting it in August of this year. It was a 2-day shoot, 2 locations. One location was in Melrose at a house that a friend let us borrow, which was very nice of her. Her name's Katerina Bishop, if she's listening. And then the meeting of Scumbags Anonymous, we shot at Soli Luna Apartments in Boyle Heights.
Oh, wow.
And now the pilot is in post. We just released the first teaser last week, and I've just been promoting it and blasting it as much as possible.
Yeah,
and,
getting it everywhere.
Yeah, that's one of our goals, is to build an audience, and then we're gonna release the trailer hopefully later this month before Thanksgiving, and then the pilot by Christmas, hopefully.
All right, now, how much is this autobiographical? Because if you guys were swapping stories, I want to know how much of you is in this, and I guess everybody else, because it sounds like it's working. I mean, it sounds like it's staying true to your heart, and that's what it gets, like, gets good and chopped around and gets picked up, no?
Well, I try not to write about myself because that gets kind of boring. But I will say this, the teaser that's up right now is based on a true story. So in the teaser, if you share the link later, what we see is one of the main characters, his name's Shadow. He's a 20-something-year-old young man. He's a lyricist at heart, but he's, doing the daily grind, trying to pay his way through community college. Anyways, in the teaser and in the pilot, he ends up ditching school and work on this particular day to go hang out with his best friend. His name's Shuggy, who happens to be a beat producer. And what ends up happening is, boys will be boys, kids will be kids, and they ended up pimping 40s. Have you heard that term?
I have no idea what that means.
Okay. I'm about to date myself. So pimping 40s is when you're underage, and I'm not condoning this in any way for your college-aged listeners. I'm not trying to give you guys any ideas, but anyways, this is something that was done, growing up in the 90s. And so what happens is, you're underage, you want to get beer, so you basically stand outside a liquor store until somebody buys you beer. So this character, Shuggy and Shadow, that's what they end up doing. They're underage. They're actually 20 years old, and they go back to Shuggy's house. His mom's at work, and they start working on their music, doing their thing, being passionate about what they do. They're creative people, and unbeknownst to Shadow, his mom ends up coming home from work that day because she's sick, and she happens to stop at the same store where Shadow and Shuggy are pimping 40s. She catches them and then rolls up on her son. His stage name is Shadow, but his real name is Stanley. And she rolls up on him, while they're in the middle of doing their thing, and he kind of gets rolled on, basically, and that's what you see in the teaser.
La chancla.
and that was, like chancla, right? And that actually was inspired by a true story.
Oh my god! And is this the minute one that's on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna play a song right now from since we're talking about 90s and are you Mexican or
Chicano?
Chicano? Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna play this new band I was talking about, Chicana Piñata Protest.
Cool.
Playing that Tex-Mex punk.
Roll it.
All right, gonna get that ready, and then I'm gonna see how much I can play from this.
All right, sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
Shadow's mom barges in, grabs him by his motherfucking ass ears and drags him out the house and kicks his ass in the whole neighborhood. A grown man getting his ass kicked in front of everybody. Y'all, you gotta see this shit. I got it right here on video. I'm gonna upload this shit. Tell me what y'all think. Yo, Shadow's over here getting his ass kicked by his mom.
Shut up.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy, Dwayne, a.k.a. D-Wizzle, a.k.a. D-Nasty for my ladies, a.k.a. Shuggy for my fans. And Shadow is over here getting that ass kicked by his mama, Mamacita. Yo, Shadow, when you get off punishment, bro, I'll see you then, all right?
Doing my thing, okay? That's all.
This shit
I
is
want you a baby.
funny. Yes, this shit is happening right now, live. Yes, posting this shit right now.
All right, so I let like 2 slip in there.
It sounds funnier when just listening to the audio, not seeing the video.
Yeah, I know, because he's like, Mamacita. So how'd you find this guy? Is he like your friend or?
So the actor Josh Dominguez, who plays Shadow, we've actually collaborated on a couple other films when I was in film school at Chapman, and then I found Donathan Walters, who's playing Shuggy, was a classmate of Josh. He's an actor, also from Chapman. And then Lydia Porto, I met her at a retrospective of El Teatro Campesino at the LA Theater Company about a year ago. You know, just hanging out, and she came up to me and we started talking, and you know, she told me she had recently relocated from Texas, and you know, she's a seasoned actress. She's been in a lot of big movies, and I don't know, we just hit it off, and you know, I kept her in mind for this project to play the role of the mom. And she was, you know, I cast her originally, but she ended up getting cast in another production. So she was going to be out of town for the Scumbags pilot shoot, the original shoot date, until I postponed it. And so I had to cast somebody else. And then that actress, same thing happened with her. She got cast in a bigger production, and Lydia just happened to be available. And I asked her, if she would do it, and she did. And I just want to give a shout out to Lydia, because that day for that production, she was up in Sacramento doing a feature film, and she drove all the way down after she wrapped that day. We shot the pilot, her scene, on a Saturday. She was in Sacramento Friday, wrapped, drove all the way down from Sacramento to Melrose, and she took a nap, and then she woke up, and
all right, I'm ready.
Yeah, total professional, wonderful person to work with, and really talented, and she made it happen. So I'm very grateful to meet actors who are at that level and can bring it, on such a short notice.
Can bring it.
Yeah, she brought it.
Man, I thought that was just his mom.
Wait till you see her in the full pilot. She has a longer piece in the pilot.
Okay, because right now that was pretty good. I thought that was like his mom, so that's pretty good then.
No, she's inspired by many Mexican moms.
Oh yeah,
and
dude,
I think you might be able to relate. You and your audience will relate. Well, Mexican moms.
Yeah, no, like I said,
gotta love
la chancla, yo.
La chancla, yeah.
That's the fear.
My tia used to call it el chicote.
El chico, oh.
Yeah, or la bandita. So
la bandita.
my cousins, my uncle is a mechanic, and when they would get into trouble, she would make them go to the garage and get la bandita. It's a band for the radiator that spins, and they would have to go to the garage and get la bandita and come back for their discipline. To put it lightly.
Damn. That's damn.
Mexican moms, love them.
So how much? I guess okay. So how much comes out from? Cause Shadow's the one who's getting right. He's getting.
Shadow's the one getting regulated. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess how much of him comes out? Is he like what a main protagonist, or is he even a main protagonist in this?
Yeah, he is the protagonist. So he's the one in the meeting that we focus on in his flashback. And right now, as the way I have the whole first season conceived is, he's the main character that we're gonna follow. But it's structured so that because we meet 6 different scumbags in the pilot at the meeting of Scumbags Anonymous, the way I'm envisioning is shooting 1 episode per character.
Oh, okay.
And then tying it in at the end. But I feel like Shadow's character is the one that I want to follow.
It's kind of like Arrested Development, like the new season. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen the new season, no.
Well, they do that. They focus on like one character, but overall,
right?
Like there's that one main protagonist,
right? And I think I feel like as I'm writing it, as I'm envisioning it, he's the one I gravitate towards more. And then also for logistic, not logistic reasons, but he's young, and we're definitely trying to target a younger audience. And I feel like he's got a lot of material to work with. Yeah, and he's the one who's got the most to grow, I think, because he's at that age where his scumbaggery can take him, 2 different ways. It can take him deep down the rabbit hole, or he can realize, early on, the road that he's on is probably not the wisest one. So it's kind of 50-50 at this point, you know.
So gotta make choices then.
Right. It's all about choices.
I know this is definitely toward a younger audience, kind of like South Park, just a little bit.
I hadn't thought about South Park, but
with all our cussing at the beginning, that's like what clicked.
Yeah, and that wasn't, you know, I didn't really intentionally write it as such. With all the profanity, for this particular teaser, I had the actor Donathan kind of improvise, and I just let him play with it. I'm like, you know, this is your character, own it, and however you feel is going to come out. I didn't want to stand in his way, but as a writer, and give him this artificial language. I did create a script, and I told him, you know, these are the lines that I would like you to hit, and then with the rest, just kind of, you know, just feel it and flow with it. And you know, I mean, he's a beat, and his character's a beat producer, so I feel like he can just go with the flow, and that's kind of what he did. And yeah, I don't want to censor it. I felt like it was organic to his character. This is somebody who, you know, a kid who, that's the way he speaks.
Yeah, and if he speaks like that, then it works. Right. Because it did flow, definitely.
Right.
Man, yeah, this is pretty, it's pretty interesting. I'm just waiting for this to come out already. Do you have like any specific like network you want this on, or like?
So the immediate goal is to pitch it to, you know, Amazon Studios, Netflix, Hulu, Vimeo. All these
Vimeo does shows too?
Vimeo just started producing their original content with the show called High Maintenance.
Oh shit!
I haven't seen the show, but it's a pretty cool concept. From what I've heard, it's based on it focuses on around a marijuana dealer, like in Brooklyn, and him going around and making deliveries deals, basically. Hence the play on words, High Maintenance, which I thought was pretty clever.
Yeah, no, that is.
And that was actually done in a similar way. The producers, who I think happened to be a husband and wife team, they created the pilot and shot it and were able to fund out of their own pockets a couple of episodes, and then they posted it on Vimeo, and it built an audience, and then Vimeo decided, you know, it was good enough and funny enough to pick up for a second season, and now Vimeo is producing it. So I'm kind of following that model right now with Scumbags in terms of building an audience organically from the grassroots, word of mouth, coming on shows like yours and just promoting it and building an audience so that when I pitch it, you know, to these internet companies, these web-based companies,
there's that audience, right?
There's an audience, and I can show, look, you know, people are interested, you know.
It's good. It's working.
Right, and take a chance, you know, and see what happens with the second season, or even just this first season, because right now all we have is the pilot, and that's what I'm working on, putting together a pitch package.
And how much of this, I guess, would be like Chicano influencer? Is it like mainstream audience, or is it like catered a little bit to Chicanos or like people of color?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because when you look at the pilot, you'll see the actors that I cast, and this was a conscious, deliberate choice on my part as a director. So we have a Mexican American actor, we have an actor with Colombian roots, we have 2 African American actors, one Pakistani American actor.
Oh, cool.
An actress who's originally born in Poland, and 2 female actresses. So I try to diversify. I wanted to add color to the screen. So to answer your question, it's not specifically geared towards a Chicano audience. I kind of broke away from that inclination for my student films because I wanted to reach a wider audience. And I feel like scumbaggery in itself by nature is universal. You know, you can go to China, you can go to Africa, you can go to Europe, definitely Europe. You can go to Russia, anywhere on the planet, and you will find scumbaggery going on 24 hours a day. So in that sense, and also the idea behind the meetings of Scumbags Anonymous, you know, there can be one here in LA, there can be one in Orlando, one in Moscow. So, you know, there's an opportunity, given the structure, that we meet new scumbags at different meetings and introduce new characters. You know, some characters might leave. So I'm trying to cover all the bases in terms of, you know, identifying with the biggest audience possible. And I think that I'm trying to connect with the audience in that sense, is that going back to the basic. If you go on the Facebook page, our tagline is scumbags because there's one in us all, you know, and I'm trying to tap into that primal instinct to be a scumbag. For me, Shakespeare said to be or not to be. I would finish that sentence with to be or not to be a scumbag. And that's basically the concept behind it.
There's always an option.
Right.
You do it or don't.
Yeah, and I think like every day, just on my way over here, driving from Long Beach and trying to find parking and trying to be on time, I ran a couple of lights. I almost ran over some pedestrians trying to get to class.
Man, they got extra points, so you can get extra points.
Right, and, I could, cut corners, but, I decided, just take my time. If I'm a little bit late, hopefully you'll be able to hold down with some music, so.
Yeah, no, and it was good. It worked out fine.
Or even for Halloween. I mean, I don't know what you did for Halloween, but the party that I was actually invited to spin a set at a party.
Oh, nice.
And
there is definitely a lot of scumbaggery going on, and you just see it in action. And a part of me wanted to bust out with my phone, but a part of me was just like, just let it roll. What happened?
Just let it happen?
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad it's like your cast looks like America and not like, hey, look, all these white people.
Right.
Man, and I'm pretty sure hopefully like your actors will like, slip in like every now and then like some people color things. I'm pretty sure like the Pakistani actor has his own little like tidbits out, because we obviously have things growing up. Like we have like Chancla. Pretty sure black people have their own thing. Pretty sure everybody else has their own thing.
Right.
So it'll be good like if you let your actors express themselves, which you did with Shuggy. I mean, obviously it came through and he did good. So I'm pretty glad that that's how your cast looks.
Yeah, and as a writer, I'm trying to be aware of the cultural nuances that pertain to each community. So for example, the Pakistani actor, he's playing a character named Jones, who's a drummer in a prog rock band. I don't even know what that is, but that's what he told me. And anyway, so he's a drummer, but he also, that's his passion, but he also tows trucks for a living. He works for his dad. And if you look at him physically, the actor, he's got a beard and he's dark skinned, but his last name is Jones. And
I see him.
You see him, right? And one of the things is like when I was creating the character, I wanted to play with this idea of identity. So his mom is Pakistani, but his dad is white, and his last name is Jones. So, and when we see him in the pilot, he's wearing his uniform and he's got his name tag and it says Jones, but you look at his face and you're like, what's going on here?
It's like, where'd you get that last name from?
Right. So I'm hoping that, when we come to shoot his episode, we'll kind of touch on that and make a connection to the whole multiracial, multi-ethnic aspect that is America today. So we'll see how that works.
We'll see how it goes, but I mean, it looks like it'll be pretty good. And, well, I guess tying it back to down home, I mean, are there any experiences from Bell? Because we both come from the same area. I come from Maywood, you come from Bell. It's like next to each other, literally, physically. We're only separated by what, like railroad tracks?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's the only thing separating us. So I was just wondering, like, how much of your, like, experiences from Bell growing up, or, like, if anything, you would tie down into this, or would you give, like, a little nod to?
Are you speaking specifically of scumbaggery or just creativity in general?
Well, just on the show, Scumbag.
Well, the pilot itself, the teaser that you just played and you just watched, that was inspired by actual events. That didn't happen in Bell, but it happened in Downey, right next door. But in terms of my creativity, I mean, growing up in Bell definitely plays a big part of how I my perception. As a creative person and the stories that I want to tell. All my films up to date have been multicultural, multilingual. I write in English and Spanish. And the next project that I'm working on right now is a short script that I just pitched, or that I just submitted to Nalip's Latino Lens, was inspired by actual events in the city of Bell. So, I mean, it plays a big part, to answer your question. It's like there's no escaping it, and I don't fight it. But like I said, I'm at a point right now creatively where I don't really necessarily want to write about myself. Mm-hmm. Although, I feel like every writer, every creative person draws on their personal experience. And I think one of the challenges, and also one of the things that motivate me, is to be able to expand on that personal experience and make it something that people who aren't from Bell or from LA can relate to. Because I think that's what I'm going for, is finding that universal experience based on the specific
things too.
Yeah,
I mean, like, and if you don't relate to it, you're just gonna kind of be lost and be like, oh, I don't get that.
Right. So you know that bumper sticker. I don't know if I haven't seen it in a long time, but it says think globally, act locally.
No, I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that? It was pretty popular in Berkeley when I was going to school there.
Berkeley.
But I've seen it elsewhere. But I remember seeing it, you know, as an undergrad in the Bay a lot. Not only in Berkeley but in San Francisco. And that bumper sticker, you know, just that one sentence just stayed with me, you know, 13 years later. And that's kind of how I approach my creativity. Whatever I do creatively is like, you know, I'll write a story that's based in Bell or in LA or in Long Beach, but I'll try to find something that's global about it so that you can watch it in Afghanistan and make sense.
Or Pakistan. That relation, though. And I'm assuming you went to Bell High School as well, right?
No, I did not. I went to Downey High. I'm a Viking.
Okay. That's why, okay.
Although my two older brothers are Bell Eagles, yeah. So the reason behind that was... So I went to Woodlawn Elementary. I am a woodchuck. And the first week that I went to middle school at Nimitz in your hometown, a kid got stabbed in front of school. And,
oh, damn.
And my mom freaked out.
I was like, nope.
Yeah, my mom freaked out, and my cousins were going to school in Downey at that time, and she's like, you're going to school in Downey with your cousins. And I was like, well, all right, I'm not going to fight it. You know, I was 6th grade, I don't know, 10 years old. I was like, all right. So I ended up going to Downey, to East Middle School in Downey, and then from there I went to Downey High.
Oh, wow.
But the whole time I was going to school in Downey, I was still living in Bell. I lived in Bell from the day I was brought home from the hospital till January of 1999 when
so like really like roots then.
Yeah, growing up, you know, raised there until I, you know, went off to college.
And when you came back, I guess, well, how was the scandal that happened? What was your reaction to that?
Well, when I came back, that was in the summer of 2002. So the scandal hadn't broken yet.
That was until what,
2010, I think.
10, yeah, no.
And at that time, I was actually, when the scandal broke, I was in film school at Chapman.
Oh, shit.
And, you know, it's a funny thing, what ended up happening, the day I found out, I was actually having dinner with the producer of the original Star Wars, the guy who hired George Lucas. He happened to be a guest that day, and, you know, we were having dinner with him and one of the faculty and a bunch of other students. And, you know, what was as customary as before we're having dinner, we introduce ourselves to the guests and we share a little bit about who we are and where we come from, what we're trying to do. So anyways, it comes around to me, and, you know, I introduced myself, and I told this producer, I can't remember his name, but I'm sure if you IMDb him, you'll find him. And I mentioned that I'm from Bell, and the faculty host, he's like, oh, you're from Bell? And I turn around, and I'm like, yeah, have you heard of Bell? He's like, yeah, I've heard of Bell. It's in the news right now. And that's when I had found out about the whole scandal.
And since then, it's like, got that brand on you.
Right. And I had always wanted to put my hometown on the map, but, you know, not like that, and for something more positive. And after that, because prior to that, when I would tell people that I'm from Bell, they're like, oh, Bell Gardens, no.
Yeah, dude,
Bellflower, no.
Always.
Bell, the other side of the 710.
Just Bell.
Yeah, just Bell.
Yeah.
So that's how I found out, you know?
Yeah,
I was bummed. I was heartbroken.
Yeah, nah, dude, because I remember all that. I'm like, what? That was my mind exploding, by the way. Since I forget people can't see me doing
things. Yeah, it blew my mind too. And, you know, when I was in school, I didn't really have time to... Let me rephrase that. I didn't make the time to keep up. You know, I would read the articles as they would come out. And I remember I would save the link, you know, in my... I think at the time I was using Hotmail or Gmail, whatever. And I created a folder, you know, the Bell political corruption scandals, because I knew that once I was done with film school, because in film school you don't have time for anything other. You shoot one project and you're on the next. But I knew that I wanted to come back to it at some point and find out what happened. And so when I finished, you know, I had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to shoot a documentary based on what happened. And I had my own questions too. I didn't know who this guy Rizzo was.
Yeah, I had no idea who these people were.
I had no idea. And for your listeners who've never been to Bell, I mean, you go there, it's like 2 square miles. You can drive from one end to the other in about 5 minutes.
With people.
It's packed, and it's mostly immigrant, Spanish-speaking, you know, working class, like my family. And you wonder where, you know, this guy Rizzo, the city manager, was making more than the president of the United States, and you wonder, where is this money coming from? Where is it going?
Yeah.
And then I found out that Rizzo is not from Bell; he's actually from Orange County, and that kind of started to explain a little bit. But then, what was even more disappointing about after that is like his cronies who were in part of the scandal. Some of them were Bell residents, and that
one of them had a store.
One of them what?
One of them had a store right there in Bell by Corona Elementary School.
Wow.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of the story that I don't know and that I'm trying to figure out.
Piece it together. Well, that writer because I mean, obviously after the scandal broke out, I was what, like a junior in high school?
At Bell?
No, I was probably a sophomore. Yeah, at Bell High School. But after, obviously after that, like I think when I graduated, like in 2013, that's when I started getting active in, like the community. And the writer who covered, pretty much all of Bell and the scandal for the LA Times, his name is Ruben Vivas. I don't know if you know him or if you heard of him.
I've heard of him, but I don't know him personally.
Well, he's a cool guy. So that guy, he ended up coming, because I do the Maywood Music Festival out there. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it.
Yeah.
And so I do that. And then he came out and covered me, so it's interesting how, like, it comes back. Like, like now I met this guy who did the Bell scandal, and now we're coming back, but, like, in a more positive note.
Right.
So now we have that, which is, doing good. I mean, it's just interesting, to see how everything comes back full circle. So thanks to him, like, now we're getting, like, more of a positive note. He's covering our area, the southeast area, and he's giving it... Because obviously he doesn't want to keep on doing scandals. I mean, after talking to him, he doesn't want to do that. He wants to show, like, what the youth are doing. So he's doing that. He wants to cover, obviously, the other areas, such as an HP. He wants to cover a story about this guy who records bands. And he's, like, been a pretty, like, vital part of the Southeast LA music scene. So, yeah, it's good to hear, like, now that everything is, like, kind of, like, hopefully washing away. Because it's just annoying, and I don't want to, like, have, that stain. I'm pretty sure you don't want that stain either, because it did happen, but, we're moving on. Just like how we were talking about Yahoo.
Right, that article that came out yesterday.
Yeah, it sucks.
Bell, my hometown Bell, is ranked the worst small city in the whole country.
But it's so dumb, though, because it's they take into account how many coffee shops are in there, like somehow that's going to affect us. And then again, they blame poor people as if, like, that's their fault. And of course, it's like you said, mainly immigrants, hardworking people, Latinos. So it's like, I just get like a little side eye, like, like, really, you're going to blame these people who are working their asses off,
Right. And there was no mention of the political corruption scandal either.
That's
to
like
put it into context,
Conveniently, it's left off. Because, I mean... Yeah, I mean, like you said, Rizzo made more money than president. I think, did Obama comment on it? I don't remember, but
it did make national headlines, and the two writers who broke the story, I found out later, they got a Pulitzer.
Yeah,
for it. And that's good in terms of, I'm thinking as a producer long term, like, there's an audience for this documentary. Because I told my brother, who grew up in Bell, he's older than me, so he's been there and he went to Baja. And I told him I wanted to make a documentary about Bell. He's like, who's gonna want to watch that? Like, who cares about Bell? And I'm like, people care. There's a bigger story there.
And as soon as you say, like, he made more money than president, then you're that's where you kind of like your little cliffhanger, like your little tag on a poster, more money than the president.
And also, I think on a bigger, grander scale, I think what happened in Bell is a microcosm of what's going on in the country in general. With these politicians who, who just take advantage, of people who are vulnerable, and I don't know. We'll see what comes of it. It's in development, and I'm thinking about this narrative, 10-minute short that hopefully will progress through the Latino lens short competition, and hopefully Time Warner and Nalip will foot the bill. And I'll get to shoot in my hometown, because that's really what I want to do.
That'll be good. All right, well, we're running out of time, so I'd say thank you, Gary, for coming through and
thank you for the opportunity
talking about this.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, no, and well, hopefully this does get picked up, and like I said, we'll get Bell with a more positive note on the map.
That's the plan.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is La Selva with Omar.
How's it going?
And with Gary, our guest today, and
what's up, y'all?
We'll finish it off with some new music. All right, peace, y'all.